Hello and welcome back. This is Coach Carole with more tech tips for genealogists in 2025. Today I want to continue with my use of Claude for my ancestral storytelling. And I want Claude to suggest some titles for a new story that I'm developing. If you've watched the previous video on this topic, you'll know that I'm talking about an ancestor who was a great uncle who served in the World War I and was a prisoner of war. So I'm going to go now to Claude and put in a prompt and share that with you. And I'm here in my project called Andrew Ralph Cutting, Great Uncle Andy, so that I can keep all my project conversations neatly tied together. So here's my prompt for today. Please suggest several title options that can capture both the personal and historical significance of Andrew's story. So with that, what it can come up with is where its creativity comes in. All right, some interesting titles, starting with Wings Over Kingston, The Life of Andrew Ralph Cutting, or From Insurance to Airways, Andrew Cutting's Journey, the RFC, or Above the Surrey Skies, Andrew Ralph Cutting and the Dawn of Military Aviation. It sounds more like a saga than a short story. Or The Flying Surveyor, Andrew Cutting's Path from Kingston to the RFC. That one has appeal. Or this one, Duty and Flight, Andrew Ralph Cutting in Britain's Great War. So I think I like part of that one there, The Flying Surveyor, as a title, and perhaps I can adjust the subtitle. So I might go with The Flying Surveyor to start my work on this story. So I'll just pause here as we go to the next step. So taking the title, The Flying Surveyor, to the next step, I put in a new prompt down here. I like this title, Flying Surveyor, but I've added my own version of the subtitle, Andrew Cutting's Path from Kingston to Brits. Now I'm asking it to write an opening paragraph that contrasts Andrew's pre-war life in Kingston with his experiences as a POW. So that will immediately draw readers into the story. So we're just getting an opening paragraph. We could be specific if we want to keep it to a particular word count. 500-word limit. See how Claude goes with this instruction, because it's really good at creating narrative. So it does what I've asked of it, given me an opening paragraph. In 1911, Andrew Ralph Cutting's world revolved around the orderly streets of Kingston upon Thames, where he made his living as a life insurance surveyor, carefully calculating risks and probabilities for his clients' futures. Already we have a description of a man I never knew. A single man living with his parents, his days followed the predictable rhythm of suburban Surrey life, until the outbreak of war transformed him from a man who assessed risk to one who faced it daily in the open cockpit of an RFC aircraft. By 1917, Cutting found himself far from the familiar Thames riverbanks, behind the wire fences of the Brits prisoner of war camp near Berlin. It's being very specific here and saying exactly where that was located. Here, amidst the harsh realities of captivity, he would find an unexpected connection to his former life through the pages of the Link magazine, where fellow prisoners used humour and creativity to maintain their humanity. Much as he had once used statistical tables and actuarial calculation to make sense of life's uncertainties. The story of Andrew Cutting's journey from Kingston to Debritz reflects not just one man's war experience, but the larger transformation of Edwardian society as it faced the unprecedented challenges of modern warfare. That reads very well. I would probably adjust it a little to cut out some of the, I think, a little too flowery language. But then it says below how it is focused on establishing key contrasts: his orderly pre-war life versus the chaos of war. I think I might put in more about the chaotic life in my rewrite of this. And using risk assessment versus risk taking, and the family comforts of Kingston versus the foreign confinement of Debritz, and his professional analysis versus his creative expression on the Camp magazine. It's made an assumption that Andrew wrote for the magazine. That's not true. Well, it might have been, but it's not evident from the one and only copy of that magazine that I have. I don't see his work in there, so I would adjust that. But in giving me an opening paragraph, I'm well on the way to creating a story about great uncle Andy. And there we have it. We've transformed raw data about Andrew's life into the beginnings of a compelling family narrative that I can now share with my relatives. Remember, Claude Projects isn't just about organising your information. It's about bringing your ancestral stories to life. And I think this process is one that you could follow quite easily, from building the narrative or a chronological timeline through to writing an opening paragraph for your stories. So don't forget to subscribe and be tuned in for more of these tech tips for genealogists in 2025.